Welcome to the Paladins fan-made champion breakdown of Tanya, the Righteous Guardian.
I will bring peace back to the realm.
Many years before the war between the Magistrate and the Resistance, Tanya was born from a grateful mother who dwelled within the Kingdom of the Moon. This colony of people was settled close to a nearby desert on a cliffside with beautiful forests and rich water sources. Tanya's father was a proud and brave knight who led the Moon Kingdom patrol. Many wanted Tanya to become a beautiful, warm-hearted woman that brings joy and happiness to others when she grew up. However, when Tanya was just 9 years old, a horde of bandits and assassins attacked the kingdom, killing hundreds of people and stealing everything they held dear. Tanya's father fought well, but he could not overcome the horde, and he paid for this failure with his life. The kingdom was left in ashes, with countless casualties, but a group of survivors managed to escape and push forward out into the realm in search of a new place to call home. They ventured deep into the desert in hopes that there would be a paradise waiting for them at the end. Reaching this paradise would prove to be a far greater challenge than they could ever have imagined. Their water supplies soon ran dry. Conflicts between the survivors whittled the group down into a shadow of what it had originally been. The few that remained soon began to perish from thirst and exhaustion, one after another. After just a few weeks, only Tanya and her mother and a small handful of surviving men and women were left. What was left of their morale immediately vanished as their eyes met with those of a large bloodthirsty creature, a rare desert gorlock that drowned their hearts in despair. It spared no time. One by one it began to mercilessly slaughter the remaining warriors, who were far too weakened by the journey to put any real defense. The beast spotted Tanya and her mother, the final two survivors of the Kingdom of the Moon. It loomed over Tanya's mother, drenched in blood, as it roared at her and went to strike. Tanya's mother flinched as she covered her face. She heard the sound of claws ripping through flesh, only to realize she felt no pain. She moved her arms from her eyes and looked down in horror to see her little girl laying on her back in front of her, blood seeping from her wounds. She dropped down to her knees and took Tanya into her arms. She began to cry. Her pride for her daughter's selfless act conflicts with the sorrow she felt over her daughter's nearing demise. The gorlock glared down at them for a moment, but then growled, and it raised its claws for a final attack. As it swung, its body was split into two by a blinding slash of light. Tanya's mother was nearly blinded by the flash. When her eyesight returned, she found herself face to face with the radiant spirit. The spirit's eyes looked directly into hers, enlightening her and causing her to release Tanya. The spirit took Tanya in its own arms and ascended up into the skies. Tanya's mother, her eyes filled with tears of pure joy, watched as her daughter was taken up into the heavens. She watched until they had disappeared into the clouds. She wiped her tears, stood up, and continued forward, soon arriving at the end of the desert at the Kingdom of Stone Keep. After Tanya's ascension to the heavens, she arrived at the Pyre, a mystical kingdom in the clouds of the realm. For the next decades, Tanya was trained to become a guardian of the Pyre, training along with powerful warriors such as the Angel of Vengeance and the Gatekeeper of the Pyre. Any time not spent training was spent watching over the realm. She would come to witness the start of the Great Crystal War between the Magistrate and the Resistance. She was disgusted by the action of the Magistrate, placing her blame for the war squarely on their shoulders. We had peace for many years, happiness flowing beautifully throughout the realm. I will not tolerate the Magistrate's behavior. Their actions must have consequences, Tanya would often say to herself, but she did not yet have the power to descend down into the mortal world. One fateful day, a powerful Magistrate troop commander, Khan, Primus of House Ico, led his troops to the Kingdom of Stonekeep, the main headquarters of the Resistance. Grand Leader Valera had almost no time to prepare for the attack. She quickly gathered her soldiers and devised a plan to defend the kingdom. From the very start, the Magistrate had the upper hand against the Resistance forces. It wasn't long before they were overwhelmed, and Valera was brought down, unable to defend herself. The future of the realm was in serious danger, and Tanya knew it. She had watched the whole thing play out, unable to do anything about it. As she watched Valera lie there defenseless with Khan standing over her, her mind flashed back to her mother and the Gorlock. Something snapped inside her and a powerful force erupts from within. At that moment, the divine spirit that saved her from the Gorlock in the past appeared behind her, put its hand on her shoulder, and fused itself with her, enhancing her power to unimaginable levels. Strengthened even further by the spirit and fueled by the burning fury inside her, Tanya descended down from the skies, imbued with a golden light. She crashed down in front of Khan, knocking him back towards his troops, taking extra care to not harm Valera. She then began to hover in the air, in full view of both armies. She focused her narrowed eyes down on the magistrate and said, "I watched this war go on for far too long. You dragged countless innocents into your disgusting war and caused them pain they did not deserve. You even went so far as to force a god into your ranks. You ruined such a beautiful harmony. The realm was perfect. Everyone was happy. Everything was going as it was supposed to be. You will pay for what you have done to the realm." As Valera stared up to Tanya, she saw the angel was completely unarmed. She looked to her side, grabbed her sacred blade, and slowly got up to her knees. Tanya heard Valera's rustling and turned to see the ancient elf bowing down to her and holding her weapon upwards to her. Tanya descended down and took the weapon in her hand, offering her thanks. She clutched the handle of the blade with both of her hands and poured the power of the pyre into the crystal powering the weapon, reforging the blade into the limitless weapon of the pyre, which will be known as the legendary Righteous Glory. She pointed the bright glowing blade down directly at the magistrate's forces and loudly exclaimed, "Your time has come. I will make you repent. I will judge over your destinies." We will now go over Tanya's stats and over her abilities. Tanya's title is the Righteous Guardian. Tanya is a damage class character, sides with the resistance and is part of the Eternal Pyre. She has 2000 HP, would cost 6000 gold or 200 crystals, and has a movement speed of 360. Tanya's primary weapon is the Righteous Glory, a crystal-powered sword with infused pyre energy, previously wielded by the resistance leader Valera. When swung, the sword fires off energy blasts of pure pyre energy. These deal 625 damage and she has a swing or fire rate of 0.65 shot a second. The projectile speed of her projectiles is 430 and these projectiles have a 75% damage fall-off. If enemies get within 35 feet with her, the weapon will deal 25% extra damage, since she's hitting them with the actual blade of the sword. This weapon does not have mid-aim accuracy and does not use ammo. It grants 2.6% ultimate charge on hit. Tanya's first ability is Pyre Vortex and Pyre Blast. When activating this ability, Tanya summons a vortex from her left hand that blocks all incoming damage for 2.5 seconds. Not only does she block the damage, she also absorbs it, and then can store this damage for up to 5 seconds in her sword. When Tanya then swings her sword again, she will deal 100% of the damage she reflected prior. The visuals of Pyre Vortex are depending on how much damage she absorbed. The color of the vortex will change as well as the symbol to indicate the enemy that they have fed the vortex too much so they can prepare for the incoming damage. At its base, the Pyre Vortex is yellow and shows the first symbol. At 1000 damage absorbed, the vortex will turn cyan and will change into the second symbol. At 2000 damage absorbed, the vortex turns red and turns into the third symbol. At 3000 damage absorbed, which is the maximum, the vortex starts to burn in flames. Pyre Vortex won't go on cooldown until Pyre Blast has been either fired or the 5-second duration of Pyre Blast ran out. Pyre Blast has a 1-second cast time. The projectile speed of the Pyre Blast projectile is 300. Pyre Blast is not an explosion and is a single target ability. Pyre Vortex has a 14-second cooldown along with the 5-second duration timer of Pyre Blast. Tanya's next ability is called the Righteous Spirit. Tanya calls upon the golden spirit of the pyre, which grants her a body shield with up to 900 HP and 30% movement speed for 2.5 seconds. The amount of shield HP and movement speed gained is depending on how much damage Tanya dealt. The effect of Righteous Spirit only affects Tanya. The minimum amount of shield HP received is 300, and the minimum amount of movement speed received is 15%. This ability is tied in with Tanya's passive, which is Purify Meter, which I will be coming to later. Tanya will receive 450 HP in shield after dealing 2000 damage, 600 HP after dealing 3500 damage, 750 HP after dealing 5000 damage, and 900 HP after dealing 6500 damage. She will receive 20% movement speed at 2500 damage, 25% at 4500 damage, and 30% at 6500 damage. Purify Meter will reset after using Righteous Spirit. Righteous Spirit has a 14-second cooldown. Tanya's movement ability is called Righteous Sky Attack. Tanya inflames her wings and dashes into the air. When dashed up, she stays airborne for up to 3 seconds by holding down spacebar. Tanya can glide forward, like Androxus for example, in the direction she faces with reduced movement speed. After 3 seconds, she loses the ability to hover and falls to the ground. After the initial dash into the air, a target area on the ground will appear, which will indicate where she will strike. If the player decides to strike and presses left mouse button again, she will dash to the ground, dealing 450 damage in the coned area. The range of the attack dash is 75 feet. After 3 seconds, the ability is cancelled. The ability has a 0.5 second cast time, which is the dash in the air. The initial dash travel distance is 35 feet up into the air. The applied slow while mid-air is 50%. Righteous Sky Attack has a 12-second cooldown. When dealing damage, Tanya fills a Purify meter. This meter has 5 different stages, where each stage requires a certain amount of damage to be dealt to fill it. It directly interacts with Righteous Spirit, as explained earlier. Tanya's ultimate ability is Righteous Conviction. Tanya channels all of her energy and all the emotions and fuses with the golden spirit of the pyre, enhancing the powers of her sword, increasing its size after a 2.5 second cast time. During the cast time, Tanya is invincible and CC immune. After the fusion, Tanya transforms Righteous Glory into the Righteous Purifier, turning the sword into a melee weapon, dealing 800 damage every 0.9 seconds in a 40 feet radius. She also gains 30% movement speed and stays melee for 12 seconds. During Righteous Conviction, the cooldown of Righteous Sky Attack is reduced to 0 when getting a kill during the ultimate. While Righteous Conviction is active, Tanya does not gain any ultimate charge until the ultimate duration is over. The ultimate voice line for her enemies is,
"Your time has come. Now face judgment!"
And the ultimate voice line for her allies is,
"I will bring their end."
To sum it up, let's go over the talents. The first talent the players will receive is Mark Blast. Mark Blast affects Righteous Sky Attack. When using Mark Blast, Righteous Sky Attack has a second charge, and now Tanya is able to dash into the direction she's facing when activating the ability. The second talent the players will receive is Blessing Spirit. Pyre Vortex now heals for 50% of the damage absorbed when Pyre Blast has not been fired. Basically, you absorb 3000 damage and you decide to not use your main attack for 5 seconds. You will then heal for 1500 health after these 5 seconds are over. This can be adjusted with loadout cards. The last talent the players will receive is Piercing Force. Pyre Blast is now a piercing projector and pierces through every enemy it faces. However, per enemy it faces through, it loses 65% of its damage. So if it deals 1000 damage, once it hits the person once, the next person hit will only be hit with 450 damage. And then that person, after that, will be hit with 65% less of these 450. Thank you very much for watching. I've been working on this character for a long time, and I have not been alone. I need to thank Kimirasu for doing all the art that you saw in this video, and I need to thank Rhea Freya for being the voice of Tanya. I'm going to work on her voice pack, because we actually recorded a voice pack, and I would like to release that as well sometime soon. Big thanks to these two, check them out there in the description. Rhea is an amazing streamer, a good friend, and Kimi is an awesome artist. Definitely give these two a follow. With that being said, thank you very much, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!